You are Locked On Clippers Postcast, part of Locked On Sports Los Angeles on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Well, hello and welcome to the Locked On Clippers Postcast on the Locked On Sports LA YouTube channel, the place to hang out when every game is done. I am Pete Fox, your host, covering sports in LA dating back to 2007 for ESPN LA and NBC Sports Radio. Tonight's episode of the Locked On Clippers Postcast brought to you by FanDuel. You can start the season with a big return on FanDuel. New customers can play a $5 bet and you'll get started with $150 in bonus bets. If you win that first $5 bet, visit FanDuel.com to get started. Well, the Clippers played well at times tonight. It was an exciting game. It was also at times a sloppy, ugly game. We're going to get into the defense. We're going to get into a large part of what went wrong. And we're going to get into Kevin Porter Jr., who I thought continues to improve night after night. Kris Dunn, on the other hand, I don't know if he's a liability or not. Again, I said the defense was really, really good tonight, but not good enough. Clippers lose a tight one, 93-92 to the Timberwolves. They had their shot down the stretch. A nice rebound after Kris Dunn missed a wide open three. Again, another one that hurt. So there's the liability, but his defense I thought was strong. Did he even score tonight? Yeah, he had 2 points, 2 steals to go with 2 points and 2 turnovers, one of which was super clutch for Minnesota, devastating for the Clippers. He got a rebound in the final sequence and was trying to push it up the court. You got to appreciate his aggression, but you got to learn to control yourself a little bit, I think. He's not a youngster. He's 30. He's played all over the place, including the G League, but got that rebound and fell down. And I think he would have been better suited to slow down, move the ball up the court, and at least get a look. A Zubats off of a James Harden miss had a really sweet putback there in the final seconds, which made it a 1-point ball game. But this game was exciting. As I said, it was a great game, back and forth. I mean, so great that Derek Jeter decided to show up. He knew what was going to happen. In spite of the baby food colored floor, or was it lime jello? I couldn't tell. I think it's getting tired that, I don't like these floors. In spite, I wore my festive, ugly Christmas sweater. Wild turkey, ugly Christmas sweater to go with my orange Puma hat, just because it was NBA Cup night and the ugly floor was present. Not a fan. Tonight I was just a tad bit less bothered. But it's just too loud. Sorry. Was it baby food or was it lime green jello? I don't know. But once we got past all of that, the Clippers had a decent first quarter, off to a pretty good start. Down 1 at the end of the first quarter, in spite of 6 turnovers. So they were not clean. The thing about this Clipper team right now is that 15 turnovers on the night, 6 of which came in the first quarter. They show signs of being a good team, and then they show you signs of being a mess. So do we come away from that thinking that, yeah, they're a good team? It'd be nice to have Kawhi Leonard on the floor. Norm Powell's still out. So in spite of those 2 big absences, they battled a good team. Now, the Timberwolves are still sub 500. Or are they now 500 after this win? 10-10? No, they are 9-10, 6-4 at home. And a night when they did a fairly good job on Anthony Edwards. He did lead the T-Wolves, but just 21 points, 4 threes. And of course, some of them in very clutch minutes in the fourth quarter. But here's where it all went south for me. The defense kept battling back. Yes, they got him into the game many, many times, creating turnovers. But you start that fourth quarter when you're only down 4 after digging yourself a hole again. They would dig a hole, dig out of it, dig a hole, dig out of it. And then they get right back into the hole again. I mean, hasn't that been their tendency a lot this year. I've talked about it. They go on big runs and then they turn right around and give up big runs. Tonight, it wasn't that. It wasn't quite as bad as going on a run and then giving up a run. It was like, make a nice play, get down into the paint, miss the layup, right? They 0 for 4, maybe 0 for 5 to start the fourth quarter. And that's the kind of stuff you can't win when you're missing 4 or 5 shots on layups to start the quarter. Now, one of them, a fantastic block. But that being said, I thought Terrence Mann had a bit of a misstep there. Had an opportunity to hand the ball off to Miller. Probably could have had an easy layup or a dunk at that point. He tried to be selfish and score the basket himself. It was blocked. The Clippers cost 21 turnovers tonight. So they definitely play defense. They are the number 5 ranked defense in the league. The problem being, Minnesota is number 2 defensive rating. So they're both top 10 defensive teams, and they showed it tonight. Back and forth, steals, leading to fast breaks. It was nice, but then you're like, you got to make some of those. I felt like the Clippers at times were just, again, not moving the ball, holding on to it, being impatient. They're on a fast break, and they just, take the first look. The fast break points we'll get to in a little bit because I got to look it up. But the fact was that they did a nice job in that department. There was plenty of fast breaks. Nick Batum had a great night shooting threes. In the first half, the fast break points for the Clippers, 7-2. In the game, I believe the Clippers continued to hold that edge again. I'm still looking it up. But the alley-oop was there for Harden and Porter Jr. I'm sorry, Derek Jones Jr., which again, they've been working on that. It's continuing to evolve and get better and become more fluent and just more readily available, well-oiled machine, James Harden and Derek Jones Jr. So that was encouraging as well. I guess I come away from this game, Clippers lose by 1. They were 5-point underdogs. So I guess you could say they showed up. They didn't get blown out. It's positive. Lots of positives to take from this game. But it wasn't like they just got beat. And I think that's why I'm a little frustrated tonight. They gave this game away. The shooting tonight was pretty even. But they just did not clutch up when they needed to. They were clutch plenty of times. James Harden leading the way with 20 points, 3 of 9 from beyond the arc, 7 of 20 from the floor. That's okay. It's not great. Not great. Off the bench, Kevin Porter Jr., 6 of 10, 1 3, 17 points, his best performance, but got pinched into the corner, fell down, turned the ball over late in the game. So there was just a lot of that. You're like, oh, yes, here we go. Oh, no. Yes. No. It was this up and down roller coaster of emotions. So I feel like since they're professionals and they know Minnesota's a good team, they can come away from this game feeling pretty positive about what happened. I felt like they guarded the perimeter well. As I said, they did not get beat up left, right, and center by Anthony Edwards, who in my opinion he's definitely the best 3-point shooter in the league, statistically speaking. I could argue that I think he's one of the best players in the league. And tonight, the Clippers did a pretty good job on him. He only shot 30%, 7 of 21. After the break, we're going to talk about the shooting percentages in general, and we'll get to the bucket list, which was pretty full tonight. It's the Locked On Clippers postcast. Clippers drop a tight one in Minnesota. They're now 12-9, 5-5 on the road, 93-92, the final. You can download us wherever you find your podcast on the Locked On Clippers podcast feed. And of course, we always appreciate you allowing us to be your source for your team every day. Tonight's episode of the Clippers postcast is brought to you by Skylight. Are you one of these people like me that try your hardest to be a good gift giver, but just sometimes miss? Well, maybe gift giving isn't your love language. You overthink it and wind up with something disappointing or nothing at all. Are you buying for someone who has everything and just seems to be unpleasable? Yes, absolutely. And another thing that factors in is I'm talking about my wife here. Her daughter is a fantastic gift giver, and I'm always in pursuit of that. So if you come from a place like me where you're always trying to come up with a very cool gift, we got the perfect gift for you. Skylight Frame is the touchscreen digital photo frame for your whole family. Everyone will love it. You can upload thousands of photos with your phone and watch them appear on the screen in seconds. Add new photos straight from your phone from anywhere. It only takes a tap on your phone to send the new photos to a frame across the country. It's the fastest, easiest way to keep loved ones in the loop. They'll feel so much more connected to you. The touchscreen is a game changer. Swipe through photos, tap to see the photo sent, tap to the heart button to say thank you to the senders, etc. There's two sizes of this fancy picture gizmo, the original 10-inch or the larger 15-inch gallery frame by Skylight. The look is perfect in any room, and they can stand on their own, or you can easily mount them on the wall. So make sure you check it out. It's a fantastic gift this time of year. And now, as a special limited time offer for our listeners, get $20 off your purchase of a Skylight frame when you go to skylightframe.com/NBA. That's SKYLIGHTFARME.com/NBA. Get $20 off your purchase now at skylightframe.com/NBA. Clippers lose on the road in Minnesota at Target to the T-Wolves 93-92. As I said, there was plenty to like about this game, plenty to feel good about. But then there were times, one of the other good things about this game for me is the Clippers looked bad early in quarters, and they finished, except for the fourth, which is the most important one, ironically. They finished strong in quarters. In the early part of the second quarter, it was a mess. Bad looks, desperate, hurried looks. There was one point where Harden just stood there with the ball dribbling. or like looking and watching the time fall off the clock, gets down to 7, 6, 5, 4, and he's still got the ball. And what do you do with 3 seconds? If you're James Harden and you're outside the perimeter, you either force a pass or you try to draw a foul. He tried to draw the foul, of course, and the ball was stolen. It's like, come on, get rid of the ball. There was another time later in the game where he did the same thing, standing, holding the ball. Actually, he wasn't holding the ball. He was dribble back and forth, left, right, had the defender just swaying back and forth. So takes the three, makes the three, gets fouled because the defender did what most defenders do when James Harden is doing that routine. They collapse on him, and he is very, very adept at drawing that foul. He's a master, no doubt about it. So you look at those two things, it's like, well, he's capable of being magnificent and brilliant in that situation. Then there are other times when he just stands there holding the ball and nothing comes from it. So I don't know what to take from that. I guess ultimately you take the good with the bad. Clips Gang on the comment says, tough loss. Harden chokes again in the fourth. Ty refused to call a timeout, go for a foul. We have no offense. ISO is not an offense. Doesn't work against better coach teams. We couldn't buy a basket. I agree with almost all of that, Clips Gang TV. I don't think it was on Harden, though. I felt like I said, it's really not fair to put a loss on one specific guy. But I believe Kris Dunn had a major part of this game, in spite of only scoring 2 points. And, he's not the leader, but he made a couple of tough mistakes, missed a wide open three, and then fumbled the ball right at the end of the game when the Clippers had an opportunity. Harden was not great again. 7 of 20, right there with Anthony Edwards. Could have been better. 3 of 9 from beyond the arc, 3 of 4 from the line. They weren't really giving him those fouls. I feel like in higher leveraged games, he's just not going to draw those fouls. The refs aren't going to go for it. But I think this is what we have to deal with. This is who Harden is, and this is what it's going to be. You take the good with the bad, and you just hope. Again, he didn't fall down tonight, so you take the good with the bad and hope there's more good than bad. And tonight, I feel like he didn't shoot 50%, but it was as much good as bad, right? And I don't necessarily look at this and feel like Harden is to blame, because he had a lot of positives. 14, 4, and 3 in the first half. That's a pretty damn good first half. So let's get to the bucket list. Here's number 5. Kevin Porter Jr. had a really sweet floater at the 11:34 mark of the second to make it 27-26 early on there. And Kevin Porter, again, had a very good night. It was a spin move floater where you could tell he was just feeling it. I really have enjoyed watching him as a new member of the Clippers. I think he is very dynamic. He's very aggressive. And I love guys that can create their own shot in ISO. Now, again, not in all particular times. And back to Clips Gang TV's point that you can't win just playing ISO. That's very true if you try to do it throughout the whole game. I feel like at times in clutch moments down the stretch, when you've got a guy like James Harden, you've got to go ISO, right? What else are you going to do? Give the ball to Kris Dunn? No, that's not going to work. Tonight, Nicholas Batum was very hot. 4 threes, but got heat checked and missed the next 3. So you're not going to kick the ball out to Batum in a clutch moment with Norm Powell on the bench and Kawhi Leonard not playing in a clutch moment down the stretch when Harden and Coffey and Dunn and Derek Jones Jr. are on the floor, or Terrence Mann, I'm not sure who it was. It was Kevin Porter down the stretch before he rolled his ankle. When you got those guys on the floor, even when Porter's feeling it and you need a bucket, are you going to give it to Porter Jr.? No, I think you're going to give it to Harden or maybe Amir Coffey, because he had a good night as well. 2 of 4 from beyond the arc, 12 points, 5 of 10 from the floor. So back to the list. For number 4, Nicholas Batum hit his first 3 at the 7:45 mark. It made it 40-33 Timberwolves. It was immediately followed, kind of got the Clippers going, by a 9-0 run. Correction. Is that the way around? Had that confused there. Didn't read the whole note. Batum made the 3 at the 7:45 mark of the second. Clippers were down 7 at that point. And then the Timberwolves immediately followed with a 9-0 run. So I thought we were going somewhere, but it turned out not to be the case at that point. But again, late in the second, the Clippers battled back to make it interesting at the half. It was a 6-point ball game. For number 3 on the list, the Harden alley-oop to Derek Jones Jr. at the 10:35 mark worked flawlessly, very well executed. It's nice to see that those guys have continued to improve their timing and their just, thinking in each other's head kind of a deal. You can tell that one was a preset play. When Harden got the ball, Derek Jones Jr. just made a U-turn through the lane up to the rim, and the ball was there waiting for him. It was perfectly executed and timed. It made it a 2-point ball game, 55-53 Timberwolves. For number 2, Batum hit another huge 3. It was his 3rd on the night. It was at the 9:16 mark of the 3rd. Made it a 4-point ball game. Clippers battling back again, 78-74. For number 1 and 1A, Porter Jr. hit a clutch 3, his only 3. It was at the 8:56 mark, made it a 1-point ball game, 78-77. And then Batum hit another 3 at the 8:16 mark of the 4th to tie the game at 80. So Porter Jr., a very, very nice game. And I guess you got to feed the hot guy, right? He was playing well, making baskets. But like late in the game, I don't know, it felt like he got clumsy and fell down and rolled his ankle, tried to stay in there. I love that. He was like, I'm good. He's running down the floor. And Ty Lue was like, no, you're not. Back on the bench, dude. 6 of 10. So he shot 60%, 4 of 5 from the line, 1 of 2 from beyond the arc. But Kris Dunn, to me, too many times, missed that 3. Again, it was wide open. He's got to take that one. But earlier, battling, yes, he's a very good defender, and that's why you have him on the floor. But he was 0 for 5. just bad, selfish, bad looks, layups getting knocked away or missing layups. It was bad shots, too many air balls. And to me, I think you got to figure out what his sweet spot is, or he has to be a little bit more clutch. We understand that Kris Dunn is not going to be your primary shooter. He is going to be there for his energy and his defense. 7 rebounds, 2 steals, but he had 2 turnovers to go with it, 1 block. So he's got to find a spot. The way James Harden is mid-range tonight was working for James. And when that's happening, I'm like, why aren't you doing that all the time? Stay there, live there, elbow, free throw line extended, out there in the wing. That's where you're comfortable. I feel like he can make his, I'm not saying don't take threes, but when you're making that mid-range fall away the way he was tonight, it's like exploit that, like go to that more often. But he gets out there on the perimeter and starts dribbling around, and trying to find a pass. And sometimes he found Zoo one time late in the game. That was a perfect little give and go bounce pass. That was sweet. It was part of a 6-0 run for the Clippers. Porter hit a fall away right there about midway through. That was nice. It got him back into this thing, kept it interesting. All of it looked good, and you felt like we got a real shot at winning this game. But in the most crucial moment late in the game, when the lights were the brightest, falling all over the place, turnovers. So that's just I guess a teaching moment, a learning moment, a turn the page moment. We played good, but not good enough. They lose by 1, 93-92. They're now 12-9, 5-5 on the road, while the Timberwolves struggling to get back to 500. They're 9-10 after this win, and 6-4 at home. We'll take the break. When we come back, we're going to get into a little bit about Amir Coffey, the Minnesota had a good game, and was nice for him to have his family there. He said it's always fun to play in front of family and play in the city, on the floor where you grew up. That's what happened for Amir Coffey tonight. I'm Pete Fox, the Locked On Clippers postcast on the Locked On Sports LA YouTube channel, the place to hang out when every game is done. Tonight's episode of the Clippers postcast brought to you by FanDuel. Get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win that first bet. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL. What is a live bet? It's a bet that happens right in the middle of the game. You got a hunch. You feel like, hey, even though the Clippers are down right now, I think they're going to come back and win this game, or at least cover that 5-point spread. You make a wager right in the middle of the game. And if you had done that tonight, it would have worked out well for you. So when you get a hunch right in the middle of the game, check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Well, the Clippers fall just a hair short tonight, 93-92, trailed by 1 at the end of the first, trailed by 6 at the break. At the end of 3, they were down 4, and then lose it by 1 at the end of the game. I think the proof that the defense was good tonight was they held Minnesota in the third to just 19 points. They won the fourth quarter, lost the second and the first, but they played well. And the defense is definitely continuing. Again, 21 turnovers for the Minnesota Timberwolves. And I'm trying to find that fast break stat for you. For whatever reason, ESPN doesn't put it on their box score, but NBA.com does. I'm not super familiar with NBA.com, so I don't exactly know how to navigate around. There it is. It's coming up. Give me a break. Hold on. We'll get there in a second. While we're doing this, I wanted to touch on something really bizarre, and has nothing to do with the baby poop colored floor or the lime green jello floor and the NBA Cup. Look, I'm not a Raiders fan. Obviously, I covered the Chargers, and I'm a Chargers fan. But if I'm a Raiders fan today, right now, I'm still upset over the way they lost that game to the Kansas City Chiefs. They had the Chiefs right where they wanted them. They were in Chiefs territory, moving the ball. All they needed was a field goal to win the game by 1. And they snapped the ball into the quarterback's chest, and he's not looking. Turnover. The Chiefs fall on the ball and win the game. I'm like, that is just utterly devastating. Now, I know the Raiders stink, and it doesn't change their season at all. As a matter of fact, they probably would rather lose all these games so they get a better draft pick. But beating the Chiefs, beating a division rival like that in Kansas City, no less, it's a huge feather in the cap, and you come away feeling pretty good. But nope. I'm going to snap the ball into the guy's chest. What a just an utter letdown and disappointment, failure at a very high level. Here are the numbers for points in the paint. Clippers 42 points in the paint versus 30 points in the paint for Minnesota. So they had a pretty nice job there in spite of, as I said, missing 4 or 5 to start the fourth quarter. But the fast break points, all Clippers tonight. Again, 7-2 in the first half. They finished the night 16-6. So I another thing that we look at this game and say, all right, that was a positive against a very good defensive team. Again, number 2 in the league defensive rating. To have a 10-point advantage on fast break points against a team of that caliber on defense is huge for the Clippers. And turning the ball over on Minnesota the way they did, all of that was really good. I thought Zoo continues to evolve and become a more physical player, more, smooth. Another one of those fantastic spin moves. Didn't quite make it on the list because I feel like, all right, I know he can do that now. He's capable of it. I saw the spin move and I gave the top 5 nominee to Kevin Porter Jr., but Zubats did it again tonight. He had a massive dunk at a crucial point of the game from a very nice pass from James Harden. It was a length of the court pass, which you don't normally see from James Harden, but he hit Zoo on the move right by the block and he got to the rim and slammed it down. It was really nice to see. But I think that what I come away from this game feeling best about when it comes to Zoo is how he handled Rudy Gobert. Got physical with Rudy Gobert, both on offense and defense. And that, I guess, would be the number one criticism a lot of people have for Ivica Zubac, is that he's just not physical enough. Gobert only 8 points tonight, 3 of 7, and 2 of 4 from the line. Obviously no threes, but I thought Zubac played well against a very, very capable quality center. He finished the night going 8 of 9 for 16 points. So A+ for Zubac tonight. Too bad there wasn't one more there to give this win, or one more bucket rather, to give this win to the Clippers. And as I said, Amir Coffey playing on a floor where he played his high school state championship game, which they won thanks to him hitting a three-quarter court length shot. So beyond half court. And I heard they were saying it was in the third overtime and it was the game winner. So good feelings for Amir Coffey tonight at Target Center. 24 minutes, 5 of 10, 2 of 4, and 12 points. So that was nice to see. Again, would have liked to see a little bit more. They put him in at the end of the game when Porter Jr. rolled his ankle, and I was like, that's fine. I'm okay with that. He's got a pretty decent night rolling, and maybe he could hit something clutch here. As I said, down the stretch with Kevin Porter Jr. out and Kris Dunn throwing up bricks, Batum was not on the floor. If I got to choose between Harden and Coffey, I'm going to choose Harden more often than not because he's clutch. He's also sloppy at times, but definitely has the clutch gene. Amir Coffey has it as well. And I feel like Amir Coffey doesn't get bothered by the brightness of the lights. It was not to be tonight. But he started off good. He had 6 in the first quarter. Both he and Harden started off with 6. Porter Jr. had 5. The mantra coming into this game was we need to be physical. Coffey referenced it in between the first and second quarter. Got to be physical. And I think you come away from that feeling like they were. Clippers tonight battled, kept coming back. Quick 9-0 run to start the second quarter for the T-Wolves. Clippers battled back to make it interesting. Down 6 at the break. Another 9-0 run to start the third quarter. Clippers battled back, down 5 at the end of the third. There was one time Brian Seaman, I think this will sum up this game kind of in general, where both teams for this matter, it was a garage sale. They were all over the floor. Brian Seaman likened the ball to a greased pig at the state fair. They were both fumbling for it left and right. Clippers had possession. They just couldn't grab it. They couldn't lock it down. And that's kind of what this game felt like to me in general. The Clippers had this one. They just couldn't lock it down. So we come away from it saying, damn it, so close, but yet so far. Got to clean things up. Got to make more layups, although they dominated in the paint tonight. So it's hard to argue that, hey, they got to be better in the paint when you have the stat of beating the Timberwolves in the paint dominantly, 42-30 points in the paint for the Clippers. So just got to clean things up a little bit. You know, the defense is good. The aggression is good. The energy is good. All of that's good. They shot 42% from the floor, 32% from beyond the arc. The T-Wolves 41-38. So as far as shooting goes, this game was, good. Again, they beat them in the turnover category. They just didn't make clutch shots when they needed to down the stretch. Missed layups. They make a couple of those layups early in the fourth quarter. It's a different ballgame, but it wasn't to be tonight. So they fall in Minnesota to the T-Wolves 93-92. Where are we? Off. Today's Friday. Tomorrow is Saturday, Trojans and Notre Dame. I'll be doing postcast on that game, so make sure you check me out there. And then Sunday, which is the 1st of December at 7 o'clock, the Clippers are back home to face the Nuggets, and we'll be here right after the game to check that one out, I believe. Time permitting. I should work out, but because we have Chargers, Falcons early in the day, and I have my wife's granddaughter's birthday party. Priorities. So we'll check you out tomorrow after the Trojans, and then on Sunday morning after the Chargers. We appreciate you watching. We appreciate you making us your source for your team every day. It's a Locked On Clippers postcast on the Locked On Sports LA YouTube channel, the place to hang out when every game is done. Thanks for watching, and thanks for listening. Thanks for comments. Have a good night. We will talk tomorrow.